Hey, this is a story about hospital hoaxing, and I believe it was put out in the news to prepare us for the armed guards with pistols and tasers to greet you now at the hospitals. So the title of it is, the video that's on the YouTube is Hospital Security Guard Out of a Job After Chasing a Prisoner Patient. So I'm going to proceed to the story. The image on the screen is not the story. It's the former story. But as soon as I click the button, the story will come on about the security guard that you should feel so much empathy for because he was tracking down a prisoner in a hospital and had some type of violent encounter with a prisoner. Oh my. Well, let's listen to this story.
He was injured on the job chasing an escaped prisoner at Loyola University Medical Center, where he worked as a security officer. Now he says he was fired because of his injury. CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey is digging into the man's case and why he says the hospital's policy needs to change.
He says he was protecting the hospital.
Okay, let's get a little bit of a laugh here right now. Who's the reporter? Megan Hickey. Megan Hickey. You can trust her. I mean him. I mean it. Megan Hickey is your source now. I bet you can really bank on this one because she's Megan with a Hickey. The other thing I wanted you to notice was that the so-called man, who most likely is a woman, is dressed in blue. This is blue-coded, which means it's sort of in the law realm. And everything in the story is designed for you to get feelings and empathy for this phony security officer. So that once they get officers in place with guns and tasers at the hospital and demanding ID cards, you'll feel much better about it because you know these poor security officers, they had a raw deal here. A raw deal, but they're really heroes. So we're going to see what a great hero this man is. And who's telling us? Why, none other than Megan with the Hickey.
And the community when he got hurt, but Loyola University Medical Center says they followed policy when they fired him at the end of his medical leave. He was at one point the face of hospital campus security. John Shildigan was working as a security officer at Loyola University Medical Center in December 2016 when he got a call that a prisoner patient in the custody of Elmwood Park Police had escaped from the ER.
We didn't hesitate because we knew what it was.
A prisoner patient escapes from the ER. Oh my. Oh my. The ER should have been more secure. They should have bars around the ER individual rooms and lock them up. Oh boy, look at his face now. Look at his face. Does he look like a man that's been shafted? Or does he look like a man who's telling you a fairy tale? Look at the snicker on his face. He can hardly prevent it from showing. And he's so excited to tell you this story. So excited. Oh, the enthusiasm is just so great. He just can't wait to get it out because he wants to get it out because he knows he's fibbing you. He knows he's lying to you. So he wants to get it out as quickly as possible. Listen to how fast he talks and look at that snicker.
So we began to run, and we were a couple buildings away.
Shildigan caught up with the prisoner on foot and took him into custody.
How about that? He caught a prisoner in the hospital. Oh my gosh, the hospitals are very dangerous. You need more armed security guards at your hospital. Oh, and by the way, There really shouldn't be that many people visiting either. And look at this terrible, terrible, terrible injury this man suffered by chasing a prisoner in the hospital. Why, it required surgery. Oh, and look at the butcher that did the surgery. Hey, that was the same doctor. The same doctor that created Frankenstein. Because it looks to me like the same type of scars were the ones on Frankenstein. So some mad, insane doctor, maybe they had the janitor do it. That looks to me like the janitor sewed him up. You know, not an actual surgeon. But it sure looks good on film. They got a mighty good cut of that. And isn't that amazing? Just running after someone in the hospital, he received such an injury that required some type of a butcher with a knife who cut him to pieces and couldn't really sew him up correctly. Or do you think it's just some kind of a Hollywood prop? What do you think?
But during the pursuit, he severely injured his foot. That left him with a limp.
Oh my, he's limping. Hey, dude, you better go back to limping school. They didn't teach you correctly on a good limp. Oh, and by the way, look at that cane. Oh, he's got a cane, yeah. Yeah, you know why he's got a cane? Because he's in the way of Cain. Read your Bible. He's in the way of Cain. He's constructing a culture that's false. The way of Cain.
Several surgeries and 10 months of medical...
Look at that limp! Hey, I got a question for you there, Mr. Security Man. Why don't you have a boot on instead of a tennis shoe? Hey, if your foot is so swollen like the last picture, you should have a boot on. You know, that would be a good suggestion. Why don't you go back to that doctor and let him put a boot on you?
Leave later, and his doctor said he still couldn't return to his office.
Oh, look, he's going to take the steps on without his cane. He's trying so hard to look like he's crippled. Hey, I've seen real crippled people walk, and I've seen real crippled people try to get up steps. It don't look nothing like this, I'm going to tell you that.
Job. Schuldigan says he requested a light-duty job that would have...
Look at that, how concentrated he is on finding work and shuffling papers for the camera. Oh, I feel so bad for him, don't you? Poor man. Chased a prisoner down in behalf of the safety of the hospital, the safety of all the employees, the safety of the patients. He done tracked a prisoner in the hospital, and who knows what took place. But he said he got him, but look at his foot. How do you capture somebody and end up with a foot like that? Well, you know, anything can happen with hospital hoaxes.
Allowed him to work at a desk, but instead he got a call from Loyola saying his time on leave was up, and according to policy, he was let go.
And basically they screwed.
Oh, wow. Let's get serious now here with Megan Hickey. He's talking to Megan Hickey.
Against me because of my disability. For doing my job.
Oh, he was just doing his job. Look at that face again. How about that? Man, he's a hero in my book, and I feel so sorry for him. He was just doing his job, tracking down those prisoners in a hospital for your safety and mine. Now we can have armed guards with guns and tasers. Pretty soon we can get some troops to guard the hospitals. You know, the guys with the rifles slung over their shoulder. Because the people coming into hospital are so dangerous. Family members, rabbis, ministers, friends. Dangerous people go to hospitals, and hospitals are one of the dangerous places here in the United States. You didn't know that, did you? Well, keep watching more TV. Keep watching more hoax stories. You'll be convinced hospitals are extremely dangerous places.
Safety of the doctors, the nurses, the public, the visitors. You know, that's my job. So, my job is to lie to you. What do I care if I'm lying to you? I'm making some bucks. I'm playing this role. I'll be playing some other roles and some other videos and other hoax news stories, but, I suffer a lot with my injury on my leg, on my ankle. You saw the butcher doctor, how he butchers me. I was thinking about doing a lawsuit to the hospital, but I might not get my job back. I didn't think I was going to get injured in the process.
Injured? You didn't get injured, dude. You got cut up like a piece of meat. The same doctor that did Frankenstein did you. Why don't you mention who is your surgeon? Why don't you mention how you got treatment at this hospital? Maybe you went to another hospital, eh? Who knows what you did, but I know one thing. You had a good makeup artist.
Loyola's policy is 6 months unless there are mitigating circumstances. Schildigan says he hopes that policy will change. He also believes he was fired in...
Here we go, back to the man who's crippled. Look at that, don't you feel so much for him? Aw. He's one of our heroes. He's a wounded soldier, and you know where he got his wounds? In a hospital. Because he was chasing an armed and dangerous prisoner who was going to needlessly kill hundreds of patients in their beds while they were already sick and dying. He was going to complete the job, and that's why he had to stop him.
Retaliation for filing complaints. Now he's taking his concerns to the Illinois Department of Human Rights and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
All right, that's good. We're glad he's going up the hoax system. Who knows? Maybe he'll get some money, huh? Because he did such a good job on this video. And by the way, I have a question for Megan Hickey. Megan, I'd like to know who does your hair. I'd like to get a hair appointment at the same place where you get your hair done there, sweet Megan. But we're not going to talk about how you got your last name. No, don't talk about her last name. It's forbidden.
A spokesperson for Loyola told me he could not comment, saying that as a policy they do not give information about employee relations or...
The spokesman could not comment because they're in on the hoax. That's why. They like the hoaxes. They cooperate with the quote system, the false system, the hoax lie system, the ones high up. I'm not talking about your nurses. I'm not talking even necessarily about your doctors that provide care, but I'm talking about some of these administrators high up. They love the hoax lie system because everybody benefits. But we're so glad that Megan Hickey has been reporting this incident.
For individual employees. In Maywood, Megan Hickey, CBS 2 News.
Okay, well, that pretty much concludes the story. And I hope you enjoyed it because it was a prelude to what I see right now. That is armed officers guarding hospitals, preventing folks like you and folks like me from coming and going freely in a hospital. Just another freedom removed, just another excuse to have you pop out an ID, just another excuse to interrogate you, just another excuse to go face to face with some goon dressed in an officer or a security officer's uniform, fully armed, ready to do war with you
ready to do war with me. Why? Because we want to visit somebody in the hospital. That sounds like a real good reason to go to war with me. And you, by the way. So I don't know what you think. I don't know what life is like for you and for your hospitals and whether you even go into them or not. But you know, it's getting so insane in this monitored state, in this, quote, state of emergency. But be glad you've got reporters like Megan Hickey.
Megan, thank you. Shilligan had
what about this dude?
For 4 years before he was fired.
What about that dude, huh?
Chasing an escaped prisoner.
What about that dude? What do you think of this dude? Is he a dude? Maybe not. Once again, he's coded in blue. And that's the code for law. That's the code for trying to change laws and try to change your understanding of law and all that sort of thing. It's one pole next to another pole, and the other pole is red. And so red and blue combined make purple. So there's always something that's in these stories that's coded. There's words that are trigger words and also double meaning words. There's color, okay? There's sound. There's all sorts of things. There's hand signals, okay? There's puns on words, puns on names like Megan Hickey, okay? And then you can look at the nonverbal facial expressions in particular, such as the security guard who really looks like he was devastated. No, he looks like he could hardly hold back the smiles and the snickers, and that's usually called duping delight. So they delight in giving you hoax stories. They thrive on it. They love it because the American population buys anything and everything. As long as it's on television, people will accept it. And they know that, so that they will use that to their advantage. And they will use that to create culture. It's culture creation. And the reason I pointed out the cane that the man was using, I believe that's a pun on Cain, the one who killed Abel. And the Bible talks about the way of Cain, his errors, his terrible nature, letting sin loose on the world, and even to the point where he will murder his own brother. So the way of Cain is the way of evil, the way of the devil. But it's also highly involved in what's called culture creation. In other words, the media is so powerful and so strong in our world today that it literally can create a culture. And it has created a culture. And it continues to create a culture. And if you don't believe that, just look around you right now with our current situation with the coronavirus hoax. Almost everyone bought it. But I sure hope you don't buy into it. And I'd like to repeat and reaffirm what I learned from Dave Johnson. I should try to end my videos with saying there is a way out. You don't have to buy into these hoaxes. And the way out is to know Christ, to know Him in your heart and life, and to get the mind of Christ, and thence you will have the mind of truth. And it is the mind of truth that fights and refutes the whole system of lies and evil. If you don't have the mind of Christ, you can very easily succumb to the mind of this world. So you have to, number one, abandon the mind of this world, and number two, take on the mind of Christ. And once you do, you'll be able to see it. How do I know? It happened to me. I always believed in Jesus. I always loved my Bible. But The power of the media drew me in. And I was sucked into this hoax lie system. But praise God, I'm out of it. Hence, I can make videos for you. And I'd like to say a word too about Dave Johnson. Dave and his persistence in making videos helped me a lot. Not just a lot, I mean, without Dave making those videos and Dave persisting, I would still be in the hoax lie system. So I know what I'm talking about, and I know it can happen to you if you continue to just simply realize that no matter what's thrown in your face by the media, you're being hoaxed and you're being lied to. End of video.